Good morning, everybody. Big up, big up, big up. It's your boy, MarkN MUFC fan, and you know what it is, guys. It's the morning views, Manchester United news. It's the daily update, guys. How are you doing? I hope you're all well and enjoying the morning. You know how it is. It's one of those things where you can always enjoy the quality of sound, the quality of the day, the sunshine, the summer is coming, and that comes with summer transfers. And I'm coming to tell you guys the summer transfer window has been planned with Ten Hag, as INEOS have been planning to back him and change the structure behind him because they believe that he was not supported properly. Guys, what are your thoughts? Get in the comments. Let me know what you're thinking because this might be a shock to a lot of fans, including the Ten Hag outers and Ten Hag doubters, even the Ten Hag inners, because it's been a rough season, up and down. But let's hear what your thoughts are. What is going to happen? What would you like to see? What kind of players would you like to be coming in? And there's a lot of talk about the UCL last night and Jadon Sancho's performance. 100 touches, 14 duels, won 11 dribbles. I think that's more dribbles than he completed in the last season at Manchester United under Ten Hag and in the season, you know. So it's one of those things. It's one of his best performance, and like I say, guys, I'm not going to rewrite history. He's been amazing at Dortmund before we got him, but he has not been able to show that form under two different managers before Ten Hag. So let's get into this, guys. Big up to all of you joining. Don't forget to smash a like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you know when I'm live next. Big up to all of you joining. Definitely, my bro. Big up to you, Sachiv Kenny Fan TV. Big up, my brother. How you doing? Big up to you down under. And yes, it's good news for the THDL guys. As you know, Manchester United fans, we have a group that will defend the Ten Hag Defense League, which I'm a proud member of, along with Joe Blackman and some of the other guys like KG. Big up to you, Stephanie Griffith. Hope you're doing well. How are you doing? Hope you're enjoying your Monday. It's bright sunshine here in Germany. I don't know how it is there for you, but tell me how you're doing. Big up to you, Shea Arsenal fan. How is everyone doing this morning? There's a lot to get into. I'll just get right into this article one time, so let's not delay anything. INEOS, key reasons behind sticking with Ten Hag revealed, but they won't hesitate to make changes if necessary. As it stands, the expectation is that Manchester United will enter the 24-25 season campaign with Erik ten Hag at the reins. Next season will mark his first full one of the Sir Jim Ratcliffe era. And while all the wheels may not be in motion just as yet, his first orders of business have certainly filled the Old Trafford faithful with some optimism. Arrivals such as Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, John-Claude Blanc, and the impending acquisition of Dan Ashworth, such highly regarded figures in their areas of work in the football industry, have been vital in Radcliffe's complete overhaul of the club hierarchy. This summer provides the new co-owner with the chance to bolster United's squad sufficiently enough to be competing amongst the very best next term, which could lead to Ten Hag having less of a say in players targeted across the window. If that means fewer signings like Anthony and Sofian Amrabat, so be it. For now, the full focus on seeing out the Premier League campaign, which is much dignity left as possible, and perhaps securing European football in some form, although the Champions League spot is now out of the equation, while also gearing up for this month's FA Cup final. INEOS' current stance revealed. Athletic reports that INEOS, from a point of view, the previous United executive team did not provide Erik ten Hag the greatest chance to succeed, as well as that they believe that there is a lack of clear alternatives, while the fee to end his tenure prematurely could prove too costly. Still, Ratcliffe and co. will not hesitate to relieve him of his duties if they see sufficient evidence that change is needed. Guys, What are your thoughts in the comments? Let me know what you are thinking. Let's get right into this. I think it's very interesting. Big up to you, Stephanie Griffith. 25 subscribers away from 200. Guys, let's get this channel to 200 subscribers. Guys, I know you're tuning in. I know you guys are watching, whether you're watching on X or not. I know I give you some good information and some good reviews. Like I was telling everyone about Rabiot, and it seems that we might be making a decision to go get this guy in the summer. Big up to all of you. 4 likes. Let's smash some likes more. Let's get to 7 likes. There's only 7 of you watching. Let's keep it going. Big up to you, Musa Basse. I hope I didn't, kill your name there, my brother. But yeah, Ten Hag in, Ten Hag stays. It looks like that's going to be the case. Oh, you're Ten Hag out? Oh, maybe you could come in and tell me why if you want. I could drop the link in the comments. You don't have to turn your camera on. Just let me know what you think and why you want Ten Hag out. That's definitely no problem to see or to have that information. I'm going to pin the link in the comments, guys. Those of you want to get in and, have your say, don't be afraid. 1 second. Yeah. So the link is pinned, guys. Come in if you want to have your say. You don't have to turn your camera on. You could just come in and say why you want the manager out. That's definitely no problem. It's all good. We're all Manchester United fans here. And even if we have different opinions, all is welcome. Let's see there's some other news coming in. I was speaking about a player, and it might be seeming like Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the INEOS team are going to make headway to get this player into Manchester United. I don't know how true it is, but the article is there. So let's get into this as well. Hold on 1 second. Let me just pull this up and let's get this to the stage, guys. Let me just share this article with you. I was speaking about this yesterday, and look, it's just so funny that it might just be the situation that's actually going to be happening right now. Man United moving strongly to agree a deal with extraordinary star. Ten Hag spoke with them in the report. And that star is none other than Adrien Rabiot, guys. Man United are planning a fresh move for Juventus midfielder Adrien Rabiot, whose contract expires at the end of June. The France international has long been linked with the Red Devils. He was the first on their radar in 2022. A deal agreed with Bianconeri, but broke down due to a disagreement over personal terms. This has not ended the speculation linking him with a move to Old Trafford. La Stampa today, via Calcio Mercato, report that the midfielder is drawing interest from the Red Devils as well as Bayern Munich. It is added that United are pressing and moving strongly to land the 29-year-old. Meanwhile, Juventus have placed talks with the Frenchman on standby. They will decide his future based on the position of the manager, Massimiliano Allegri, and their qualification for Champions League. Rabiot to United speculation is purely agent-driven. United manager Erik ten Hag was keen on bringing Rabiot to the club in 2002. He personally spoke with the midfielder to convince him. However, a deal did not materialize in the end due to differences in personal terms. The hierarchy refused to meet his 10 million per year salary request. Rabiot ended up staying at Bianconeri, where he was hugely impressive last term. The Frenchman managed 17 goal contributions from 48 games. His performances have not been the same this season. He has had only 7 goal involvements thus far. United have been guilty of handing huge wages to experienced stars who are almost past their prime, like Raphael Varane, Casemiro, and Christian Eriksen in recent examples. With the new management at the helm under Sir Jim Ratcliffe, we don't see the club pursuing a free transfer for Rabiot, who turns 29 at the start of last month. Rabiot has been linked with the Red Devils for the past 2 summers. Last year, he ended up continuing with the Bianconeri by signing a fresh 1-year renewal. The midfielder is now eyeing a pay rise to prolong his stay. We believe his agent is trying to put pressure on Juventus by reigniting the speculation with United. Guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know what you are thinking. What is going on? Do you think Rabiot is going to make a big impact at United? Do you think he will perform well? We know the Frenchman has been really good. He's played when he's won the Europa. He's won, the World Cup with France. He's also played really well for Juventus. He's also won a lot in the league playing for PSG. So, guys, what are your thoughts? Let me know. I wanted to get into this little bit of information here because everyone is talking about it right now, and I just wanted to Uh, I mean, in manager on Ten Hag, he does not have the level in Manchester. Tuchel. You want to have Tuchel as Manchester United manager, bro? Really? That's superbly interesting. That's superbly interesting. So let's talk about this. This is the big news right now. Jadon Sancho is right now the talk of the town. 100 touches, 14 duels won, 13 dribbles. The 24-year-old star proves his worth to United with a fantastic display. And I would say this, guys. This has been this first really great performance, standout performance at Dortmund this season. He's had a few other good performances. I'm not gonna lie, but at the same time, where was this form in the last 3 years at Manchester United? I mean, under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he barely got game time. Under Ralph Ragnick, he was decent. In Ten Hag's first season, he had some performances, but it was never on that level, to be fair, if we're being honest. But let's get into this article and hear what they have to say. They should have scored more with the chances created. Sancho played a big part in the victory and he was brilliant with his work rate over 90 minutes. The 24-year-old had 100 touches against the Les Parisians, and with 88 passes, he was exceptional in the final third with an impressive 13 take-ons, one alongside 14 ground duels. He created 3 chances for his teammates, including a big one for Julian Brandt, who was denied a goal by a crucial sliding block from MarkINEOS in the box. With the result, Germany have secured top 2 spot in UEFA coefficient rankings. This term, a 5th place finish in Bundesliga guarantees Champions League football. Dortmund are the beneficiaries as they are 5th in their league. The result also means that the Premier League will only have 4 places in European competition next season. Sancho has indirectly ended United's prospects of making the competition with a top 5 finish, but they could still benefit from the same with his permanent transfer this summer. Dortmund are said to be interested in re-signing Sancho on a permanent basis. The financial boost from qualifying for the Champions League could improve their chances of signing him. The Englishman also has the opportunity to revive his career at United, but it seems unlikely after his public criticism of manager Erik ten Hag. He has no future at the club unless the Dutchman leaves. Guys, what are your thoughts in the comments? Let me know what you are thinking, because in one thing I am pretty happy about his performance, because in my opinion, if he does not apologize, then it gives us good reason to demand 45 to 50 million for him to sail to Dortmund or whoever club comes in for him in advance. Kenny Fan TV, this is the most important thing that a lot of fans are forgetting. Player power must die, and it's going to be faded away very soon with the way INEOS have been doing what they're doing. Big up to you, Mental Ball Game. Hope you're doing well, my bro. Yeah, I'm good, chilling. Just going over a little bit of the news, a little bit of information about INEOS planning to move on with Ten Hag. They planned for the summer with Ten Hag involved, and they're moving forward, but they're not going to hesitate if they don't see substantial evidence that he deserves more time. So I think it's pretty good news. I think it brings us a little bit more stability. They're going to focus on the structure and rebuilding the squad, which I think is going to be amazing. And with Sancho's performance last night, I think that increases our chances of getting a bigger bang for his services if we were to sell him. We know a lot of fans were saying easy 40, 50 million. Well, now it seems pretty easy to get that. And while he has performed really well last night, guys, I don't want you to rewrite history. Always remember, he never showed those performances for Man United. Big up to you, my bro. How you're doing? I see you're popping in. What are your thoughts? Big up.
Morning, Mark. Morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm happy, man. I'm good. Yeah, I totally agree with everything you're saying, man. I think the approach that Ineos are taking with Ten Hag is the right one. He needs to get more time, and if he still doesn't perform, then he needs to go. Simple as that. And I totally agree with your approach towards Sancho as well. He had a chance to apologize to the manager. He didn't do it. I don't care how well he plays now. I don't want that mentality at my club. If you think you're bigger than the manager, if you think you're bigger than the club, then you can go and play however you want to play somewhere else. We don't want you at the club.
100%. I mean, I fully agree with that. I want players who want to play for Manchester United, and the way he handled the press conference last night was quite cheeky. I like that from him. You could see he has a bit of his confidence back, has a bit of swagger, and I'm happy for him because you know what? You always want to see players do well, especially when you're fans of the player. And I'm a Sancho fan, but at the same time, I can't tolerate that disrespect. So Alex Ferguson never tolerated it before, and no player should undermine any manager and remain at the club unless they're performing week in week out like let's say a Kylian Mbappe level last season or the season before. Right now, no, I think I enjoy his performance. And Musa Bassi, I won't turn down your opinion on having Thomas Tuchel come to United, but maybe you need to consider that Thomas Tuchel, in reality, he's not that type of manager that works well with a structure. He's a very control hungry manager. He's used to having control over everything, including all the players he recruits. And I don't think that's going to be something that's going to work really, really well with INEOS. You know what I mean? If they're trying to do the thing where they recruit based on a style of play, it's a manager will get some of his signings, but the club will still sign players that they think are suited to the style of play more so it's not going to be where all the signings are going to be able to be controlled by a manager anymore. And I think this is the way to go forward because it works at Man City, it works at Real Madrid. Everyone says that the Brighton way is the way to go. But I think the Brighton way is a little bit too much over the top because the Brighton way recruits players based on the system only. It doesn't really take into account the manager and what he really wants. And I think that takes away the character from the manager's team because some players the manager wants them not just because of their abilities but because of their personality as well.
And Tuchel has a history of falling out with players and boards as well. Wherever he's been, PSG, Chelsea, now at Bayern, he falls out with players and the board. So we don't really want that kind of character. I mean, he's a good manager, but he's a cup manager rather than a league manager. He does well in cups. He won Chelsea the Champions League. He's probably going to get into the final. Um, he's against Real Madrid, so you can never be sure. But he's doing well, getting them to Champions League semi-finals. And again, they hadn't lost the league for what 10, 11, 12 years, whatever they were winning it straight, and then Tuchel goes there and they don't win the league that year. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not too convinced with Tuchel. And just coming back to the Sancho point, right? You were saying he's got his confidence back and he's playing. Well, the thing is, not every player can handle the pressure that being a Manchester United player brings. When he was at United, even if he takes 5 steps, every step, left foot, right foot, everything is analyzed with 100 cameras, and people have opinion of how people are walking, how people are sitting down. Everything is being analyzed. Not every player can handle that. Now that he's at Dortmund, he doesn't have that pressure. Not saying that Dortmund is not a big club, but it's not at the level of Manchester United. Being a Manchester United is a totally different kettle of fish, man. Not every player can handle that pressure, and we saw that Sancho had mental health problems when he was here. So maybe the pressure was too big for him, was too much for him, and now that he's back there, he's a big fish in a small pond, as we say. So he's enjoying that. He couldn't handle the enormity of Manchester United. Maybe, who knows?
100%. And I know, like I know a lot of people are gonna be mad with this next statement, but I have to bring it out and ask the question because there's a conundrum that we're facing in this summer. There's a possible sale of Marcus Rashford if a big offer comes in. There's also the possible sale or reintegration of Jadon Sancho, as well as the possible sale or reintegration of Mason Greenwood. And I just wanted to ask the fans: start, bench, sell. You know, whichever one you guys choose, start, bench, sell. Let's get it in the comments. You know what I mean? And if you're in the non-live section, the start, bench, sell is on Mason Greenwood. Jadon Sancho, and Marcus Rashford. Guys, this is a
But
question.
based on what, Mark? You're
I'm
asking this
saying
only on footballing ability,
I'm
or
asking
taking
based on
everything into consideration?
I'm asking based on footballing ability
Okay.
and what we can do in the transfer window in terms of we need profit. And this is me speaking totally objectively because I would say we're going on the court of law, and according to the court of law, there is no guilty verdict. So these people, prospectively, all are innocent. You know, they might have some might have a blemish against their name for an accusation or whatever it is, but at the same time, I'm talking on footballing ability, guys.
I mean, see, I don't want to start a moral debate here, but it's a very complex society that we live in, man. If you look at US, right?
Mm.
They chose a president who's done things that no decent human being would do, and people would snigger at saying, "What is he doing? What kind of a man he is?" But they chose him as a president, and we are letting a young footballer go and play somewhere else because he made what he did was totally wrong. I'm not saying what he
What he was
did was
accused
right.
of.
What well, okay, yeah. If we are talking legal terms, then yes, what he was accused of. But I mean, we've seen in the society that we live in, we've seen people given second chances, and I'm a believer of second chance. I think he deserves a second chance. If it was up to me, I would give him a second chance. I'm not condoning what he did. He has to come out and apologize. I don't know what the legal ramifications of everything is. I don't want to get into that. But just based on footballing ability, I would start Mason Greenwood, I would bench Jadon Sancho, and I would sell Marcus Rashford if we are talking just footballing ability.
I feel like you read my mind. There's no need for me to comment because that was just exactly the order I was going in as well. Because I feel what they both could bring to the team. One is more direct. One is very techy and can hold the ball. It's exactly what we need, and they would be playing on opposite wings. So it always gives us that balance that Ten Hag is looking for with the current style. Even if you looked at his Ajax team, he always had that type of winger. He had one that was direct and one that held the ball up. So it always keep created a kind of balance, you know, a counteracting balance, whether it was on the left or on the right. So I'm just thinking based on that because, like you said about that whole thing, you know, I went to school in the USA, so I have a lot of friends over there. I visit there regularly. My sister, my little brother, they're Americans, and they go into university there. So I have to visit them again very soon, coming up in the summer. So for me, I just look at it like prospectively speaking on a world. The young man was 18 years old when this happened. People forget that he was suspended for 2 seasons almost while, you know, so he got older. He actually turned 21 by the time he was able to play football again. So for me, I look at it from the perspective that, you know, some things you could never condone, even an accusation like that, because I have a sister, you know, but I have a brother as well. So I look at it from the perspective that I'm not, I don't know, I can't hate my brother, if you know what I mean. I would not forgive him, but I would still, you know, hope that he could redeem himself in some way with his actions going forward for the rest of his life. Because, you know, in a situation like that, we have seen so many different things, like different types of musicians, artists, actors, actresses, singers, you know, famous names done way worse things, and they're still performing at the peak of their powers in their career to this day. So I just say, you know, let's keep the energy 100, you know, share it around equally wherever it goes, because not just because we have an opinion, because this is football. I mean, no society is perfect, and there's always going to be mistakes. We're human, you know. We are born to a fault. There's no perfect one amongst us. There's no one amongst us who doesn't lie, who has never done made a mistake or anything like that. And I'm not going to stand here and try to be a saint. But anyway, I'm just asking about the start bench sell based on footballing ability, guys. So if you want to get in and let me know, even leave your comments however you feel, how you feel about it. It doesn't matter. It will be acknowledged and you will get the replies. Big up to all of you. And guys, I just wanted to ask one more question. What are your thoughts on Eric Ten Hag going forward? What do you think you want to see from him? You know, what would you like to happen? in the summer window coming up. As you know, I did a video yesterday about some possible players that I would like to see come into the club, and I was thinking keeping it based on, more signings for less money as opposed to signing 4 or 5, 50 to 60, 70 million pound players. I'm thinking about let's sign 3 or 4 players for 25 to 30 million, and then develop them, and then maybe get 2 or 3 signings for 40, and maybe one marquee signing. So let me know in the comments your thoughts, how you feel about that. What kind of players you would like coming to the club? Where's your interest or focus? For me, it's the defense. I would purchase 2 center backs first, and maybe get a full back, whether it be a right back or a left back. And then I would move forward to the midfield. And lastly, I would get a striker. But I'm definitely going with 5. And if we get any more, it would be based on outgoings. But that's just my opinion. Guys, your thoughts in the comments. Kenny Fan, what are you thinking? Mental, I know you were there on the show with me yesterday, but I'm pretty sure there are probably 1 or 2 players that you probably seen that you probably might like to have at United. I know for me, one of those players play at Dortmund, and his name is Jeremy Bino Gittins.
Yeah, I mean, I agreed with most of the list that you had incoming yesterday, man. Those are all good players, and I like the defenders, the young defenders, the unproven guys that you had on your list, and I want those kind of players to join the club now, so that they can take the next step. So we can have Licha as one of the centre backs who guides a younger centre back to actually shield the midfield and the goalkeeper on both sides to provide the midfield with the ball to go forward quickly and to shield the goalkeeper because he doesn't face so many shots. But from Ten Hag, right, I want to see a proper system in place, even if it's this transition football. What I want to see from him next season is, especially at Old Trafford, when lesser teams come to Old Trafford, I want to see us dominate them, not them coming and taking 20 shots on our goalkeeper. That's not what I want to see. I don't care what system of play you're playing. I want to see us dominating the lower teams at least. I mean, it was embarrassing to see the goal when Burnley scored. Burnley scored and they ran to get the ball out of the net. That shows that they believe that now that we've got the equalizer, we can go and get the winner. And that was at Old Trafford. That was shameful, man. Earlier, these sorts of teams would come to Old Trafford and they would shake in the tunnel before even getting on the pitch. And if they got a draw, they would consider it as a win. And now they're coming, dominating us, hitting 20, 30 shots at our goalkeeper, and then running and picking the ball up from the net after they've equalized. It's just embarrassing. He needs to stop this. We need to get a proper system in place where we are compact and we dominate the lesser teams. Against the bigger teams, I don't mind if he parks the bus just to make us compact and then hit them on the break and hit them on the transition football, whatever.
Yeah,
But
but
next season we cannot
you,
have what is happening this season
yeah,
where
but
the lesser
bro,
teams are
like
taking 30 shots.
I keep explaining to some of you guys about the style of play that's happening this season. That's you guys are so focused on the fact that the midfield is open. You're not considering the fact that some of these players who play in the midfield, they just don't fit the system. They can't do it because it's one thing to say that the system worked when he had the players in Ajax, but then you say when he comes to the Premier League, that system is not going to work. It's
No, but
happened
Mark,
with Pep and
you
Klopp.
can't tell me
And
that this is the only system he can
I'm
play
not
with these
saying it's
players,
the
man.
only system he can play, but you see, the concept, you see, the whole thing is what you guys are missing. You guys are keep saying he should change something, he should change something, he should change something. Until he actually implements the base system that he wants to play, he should not change anything. The players are the ones who are supposed to adapt and learn to do the right things in that system. And if then when they're doing that and it's not working in the way that we want it to work, then he should be adapting, because if he keeps adapting, then there's no system.
So
There's
are
no
you
actual style of
saying that
play.
this is his system that
I'm
we are
not
seeing?
saying that this is a system, because I'm not looking at prospectively as this is what's the final end product. I've seen what the system is at Ajax. What I'm looking at is how the players perform in their roles. And that's the important part, because the players don't always perform the best in the roles that as they should. and then it makes the system looks worse than it actually is. But you have seen for yourself this season in moments when we have had better defensive players available, we are more compact, but we play the same system. It just looks like we do something different because players like Lissandro can fold into midfield. He knows what he's supposed to do. And then, it had Varane there who was, Rolls Royce Varane. So it makes it look like we are more compact in those games when we're actually not. We're playing the same system that we're playing. It's just the fact that when we don't have players like Lissandro and Varane available, we have to play Maguire and Lindelof, or Maguire and Johnny Evans. You have to drop that defense a whole 10 yards back. And that creates the gap in between the defense and midfield. But if you drop the midfield back, we don't create much in attack. This is what was happening at the beginning of the season because he tried dropping the midfield deeper so it connects better with the defense, which kept us compact, but we created no chances. So this is my argument when I say, if the new players come in who actually have the mobility and they actually adapt to what is expected of them, then you should definitely see drastic improvements in the midfield possession, in how we are compact. You should see improvements in the fact that teams would no longer be able to cut through our midfield. I mean, even in the last few games, there wasn't more than two occasions in a half where a team cut through our midfield. They have been going over the top. They've been coming around the midfield, but in the last two games they haven't really been going through the midfield. And if you wanna make a critical assessment argument for sake, then I could say that in a counter-attacking situation, most teams will go through any team's midfield. It happens to Man City, Arsenal, Spurs, Aston Villa. I mean, hell, we scored 4 goals against Aston Villa doing that very same thing. So this is how we did the league double over them. So I'm just saying that prospectively, I expect a direct improvement in the way we play in the midfield and in the defense if we get in players who could actually play the high line and are more mobile and physical and and actually could provide the they could actually express and effectively execute the directives of the manager according to the system requirements.
Yeah, no,
Although I'm not going to say that just before you start, sorry to cut you.
no, no, go,
I'm
go.
just going to say that if after the first 3 months, let's say 10, let's say 5, 10 games, that's not working, then I would totally 100% agree with you. He needs to change something.
No, next season, if after 10 games it's not working, then we need to change him because then he doesn't know how to use the players that he's got. We can't go and get him 20 new players, man. We
No,
can't
but you
do
see,
that.
the problem for me is the concept that players going to come in and immediately play the system and it's going to work immediately. That don't
No,
compute
but
for me.
I mean, 10, 15 games is what? Almost half of the season, Mark.
Half of the season is 17 games.
Right. So, okay, 15 games.
No,
I'm saying
actually,
two
half of the
games, like
season is
19
19
games.
games.
But 15 games, you will have cup games there as well, right? So
Well, yeah,
that
well,
will be
that's what I
like,
say. So I didn't say 10 Premier League games. I said 10 games. 10 games would be Premier League, Europa, and FA, and the one or two
okay,
cup games. So
let's say January. If
that.
if till January we don't see any improvement, then he needs to go
Well, of
definitely.
course, of course, of course. Like I definitely like even before that, when I said 10 games that we play 10 games in 3 months. So, in my honest opinion, in the first 3 months, if there's not if the system isn't working and we're not seeing direct improvements, yeah, then he on the chopping block already for me. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Because for me, I was always of the impression that in his second season he could make mistakes. And for me, the only reason I have said that is because he chose because for whatever reason, whether it is by choice or by design, he was only able to start playing implementing his style of play really this season.
I
So
think
this is
I think
why
he's been a victim of overachieving in his first season. He
possibly.
he massively overachieved in his first season, man. People got carried away with third and a trophy after 5, 6 years, and the way we were playing at Old Trafford that season. I mean, how can we go from that season to this, man? It's
It's it's
unbelievable.
actually pretty easy and simple to understand. To be fair, like for me, because I okay, like I grew up playing football, and in Trinidad and Tobago, we always played more of an English way. And then in 2004, we got a Dutch coach, right? Well, no, actually before that, we had a Brazilian coach called Renny Simos, but it was kind of too much tiki taka ish, too much Jogo Benito style. We
Mm,
have a little bit more, we like to put a little bit more crossing and stuff in our football as well. So it wasn't really 100% suited. So then we ended up getting Leo Bain Hacker. And this guy coached at Bayern Munich, Juventus, Barcelona. He coached at a lot of top clubs around the world, and he's won things, right? And he came in and he was implementing this style of play. And in the first few months, we played something like 20 practice matches with different Caribbean islands, and we lost 16, right? The last four matches, we won. Not so well. And then we had to start playing the tournament to start to qualify for World Cup at under 17 level, under 20, and at full level. And all teams qualified for the World Cup. All of them. Trinidad was, at that time, we made history as the smallest nation to ever qualify a World Cup in 2006. And if you go back and watch that World Cup where Trinidad played against Sweden and they played against England, Trinidad was playing the same high pressing football that everyone is so fancying right now, right? And
mm.
the problem with this style of football is that you have to be able to fluently understand each role that you are going to progress into and operate like if you was that player or as close to that player. Because I want to say operate like that, I mean systematically you would know if you're in a wing, if you're on the wing and you have the ball, you have two options. You drive to the line, the byline, you put a cross in, or you put a pass in, or or you cut in and you use the overlap, or you cut in and you make a pass, or you try to and you make a run to the box. So whether you are a left back or a right back or a defender, once you end up in any role, you're supposed to have that information in your brain that this is what you have to do now. You understand? So that the team will look fluent no matter who is where. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the problem is for me at Manchester United right now is that a lot of the players they're now starting to come to terms with what is required. They now starting to understand where they need to be, where they have to be, and what they have to do when they progress into this situation or they end up in this position. You know what I mean? So it's complicated. So in a way, I feel like the players need time, the manager need time, because before we weren't playing as complicated a system. Counter attack is very simple. You know what I mean? So possession based counter attack is quite simple compared to possession based expansive football. So that's the
Yeah.
whole problem. So I just feel like a lot of fans, we're really focused on performance and on performance. But we're in a rebuild. So for me, the performance is not something you can really expect week in, week out.
No, okay, I agree with you with most of it what you're saying. But looking at our team, which players do you think are taking time to adjust to their roles? The whole midfield is open. So are you saying Casemiro, Menu, and Fernandez are not understanding their roles?
I mean, I would say Fernandez and Menu are the two that understand their roles the most. Because if you look at the games, they are the ones that are functioning the best in the midfield. Now, the problem is with Casemiro, and this is just my honest opinion. I just think that apart from having all the experience and the ability to read the game, he just don't have the mobility right now. You know what I mean? The Premier League is a much faster pace than La Liga, and it's like really really intense. So I feel that it may have gotten to him. Now I'm not saying he can't come in next season and perform better than he performed this season, but what I'm saying is that he actually was not playing that style of play before, so it's a little bit different now. I might think prospectively maybe we should play with a double pivot. A lot of people might agree and say we should play with a double pivot, but at the same time, after objectively see a better DM in that position, and when I say a better DM, I mean a more mobile DM in that position, and it not work to say, well, okay, yeah, a single pivot cannot work, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. We should definitely play with the double pivot, man. We should have done that way before. I don't know why he doesn't want to do that. And I know Dutch managers are really stubborn, man. They don't really want to change whatever they want to do easily. We've had to, and we've seen that they don't like to change their ways of play. They want to stick to their play and go with it. I just hope, man, with Licha coming back and with Luke Shaw hopefully coming back, he gets to play the kind of football he wants to play in the FA Cup final, and we just win that. That's one trophy I want to win, because winning that at the end of the season will get this squad at least some kind of a mentality boost that they can take in the preseason. I just want that to happen. I don't care how we score against City in that FA Cup final, whether it goes from hitting someone's backside, whatever, but we need to win that game somehow. Winning that trophy will be really, really crucial in deciding what Ten Hag does next season, I feel. That could change the course of the season, because that will give a mentality boost to this team that he can then use in the preseason and come back very strong in the beginning of the next season. And if we lose that, then the players will think, oh, we are still behind City, Liverpool, and all these clubs. So we'll try where we can get. But if we win that, then the players will think, yeah, we can compete with these teams. We can beat them in big finals. So let's go and let's try and challenge for the league next season. Then I'm not saying that we should be challenging for the league, and I personally don't expect us to be challenging for the league next season. I'll be happy with top four next season. But as I said, I want to see us dominate the lower teams at Old Trafford. That's my base for next season.
I mean, I feel like this season was one of those seasons where there was a lot of fine margins and where you could say we could have been in a more consistent performing way. We could have had better confidence going into games. I feel like a lot of, I'm honestly, this is for me, it's not about this really, yeah, but I just prospectively as a fan watching the football week in, week out, I felt like in a lot of situations, refereeing decisions kind of affected the morale of the squad in games. And in a way, for me, it gives the feeling that it was done in a way to disrupt the players getting a mentality of, hey, we could continue doing what we're doing because we know that this decision is going to go our way because it's the consistent decision all along. There are so many inconsistencies with decisions made that is almost as though it kind of just threw the players off their rhythm during some games and impact the way they perform week in, week out. Because if you look at some teams, like any single, you know, infraction is given their way, and in other some teams, they have to like literally be broken in order for them to get a call. So it's just one of those things where this season is so weird for me that I'm not really kind of using it as a barometer for any other season going forward. I just feel like there were so many things wrong and so many different levels. Not just the takeover saga, but the two accusational sagas that we had, plus the issue with Jaden Sancho, as well as all the different situations with one or two other players in the club. So I feel like if you add the injuries to that and all what happened, and you could see why we really didn't have much of a base to find consistency this season.
Yeah, no, I agree. Some of the decisions have taken a bit of a hit on players' mentality, but that's what top sport is about, man. He needs to create that siege mentality. That Mourinho is so good at. It's us versus the rest of the world. That's what he needs to put in these players as well. Don't expect any decision to go your way when you cross that white line. That's the simple mentality that these players need to have. And that's the whole point. That's the weakness of this squad, isn't it? The mentality. It's the mentality that needs to change. We have all the talent in the world in our squad. We have all the physicality, all the attributes that we need in the squad. It's the mentality that is the weak point. And that's the whole thing that he needs to change. And hopefully getting Licha back and getting 3 4 new players and winning some of the games. I think if he can change the mentality of the squad, And that is why I want, especially, I mean, if it was up to me, the first player I would sell is Marcus Rashford. He's such a mentally weak player, man. As in him and Martial, even Martial, his whole career at United, as soon as he got any kind of a challenge from one another player, another striker, his game just goes. So mentality is the one thing that he needs to change in this squad, and I hope he manages to do that in preseason with new players and players going out, and hopefully we'll start the next season better, man. It's all up to the next season now. The only thing I want from this season is somehow win the FA Cup. That's it.
100%. Like, and like the FA Cup is a cup. And I will keep telling everyone, Man City, right? In these next few games, they are going all up. Some of their players will burn out because they're running mostly on adrenaline and vibes right now. They haven't had a great season. For me, the squad, although they brought in some quality players, they have not really improved on what they lost last season, as far as I could see. And if you take into account the fact that the last time we played Man City, although we lost at the end of the game, for 60 minutes we were the better team. They were chasing the game for 60 minutes. And it's always in the last two meetings with Man City, the first goal that they get is always based off a refereeing decision. Have you not noticed that?
Yeah, yeah. City seem to get all the refereeing decisions in their favor, man.
So it's one of those things. I mean, I felt like Edison was supposed to have a red card against Garnacho in the game where we played them at where we played them at City Ground. But again, the referees, they know they're not going to do that to City because they want them to win the league. And I'm just saying that because I'm so frustrated with some of the decisions, some of the infractions I've seen. I've seen Hoyland Rock be tackled by Gabriel at Arsenal at the Emirates. I've seen him chopped down by Saliba in the same game, no penalty. I've seen Udoji hold Garnacho like within a bear hug and no foul. I've seen players, even in the game against recently, against what it was, Wolves, no, it was Burnley. This guy kicks Garnacho off the ground twice on the right side of the box and the left side in a breakaway. No penalty both occasions. Handball, no penalty. But if it's happened against United, point to the spot immediately.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Every goal that we score goes through VAR check multiple times. Doesn't happen to any other team. Every goal that we score has to go through a VAR check for 30 seconds or 1 minute, man. And as you're saying, there's been so many instances this season. Although the VAR and referees have been inconsistent throughout the season for all the teams, but I do agree with that we've had some horrible decisions against us this season, man. That Gabriel's wrestling Hoyland, how that was not given as a penalty when they gave Hoyland penalty when he was holding, I think, Rodri's hand or someone in City's game, and that was pointed to the spot. And then Van Bissaka's handball is given as a penalty, but we do the same to the Burnley player. That's not a penalty. Grealish Grealish literally stops the ball in the wall, and that's not a penalty in the FA Cup against Chelsea. I don't know. I mean, the inconsistency of these referees is baffling, man, and it seems to be going in City's favor all the time. Doesn't matter which team they're playing.
100%. And you know what, guys? We're not here complaining about the referees, but certainly, guys, if you look at least I can count 5 to 7 games where refereeing decisions took away our chances from winning the game. We should have had penalties, or the other team should have had at least a red card in those games. And I'm talking about Fabian Shaw for Newcastle with the tackle on Bruno. I'm talking about Bukayo Saka with his tackle on Bruno as well, where he lunged forward and kicks Bruno in the ankle, no ball, and doesn't even get a yellow. So there's a lot of situations where United should have had a decision gone for them, and we could have seen ourselves with 21 points additionally to what we have right now based on the decisions that went against us. And I'm talking about, look at the game against Chelsea where they gave two soft penalties. The second penalty, the guy wasn't even touched and he just dove to the ground like a dove. Sometimes dolphins exist, but you don't think you're going to see them on grass. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying Guys, it was one up and down. It's not all down to the team and the manager, but certainly we would like them to fight and do much better in the games going forward. Big up to you, Nikhil S, coming in. Hope you're having a good one. Big up to you, Yali, and I know you're not going to acknowledge that statement about about INEOS backing Ten Hag based on the fact that they believe he wasn't backed. But it was also said by Jason Wilcox. So you know what, guys? I hope you guys take into account that we're not taking away from the faults of the manager. He's truly had made some mistakes this season as well. Maybe focusing on changing the system without enough players that suited available. Also, the fact that we had this injury crisis, and maybe in some games he did not make better decisions with substitutes or changes of tactics throughout the game. So we're not taking it away from him that he has not performed to the best of ability that he could. But we're also saying that the players have not been giving 100% as well. They have to also hold some blame for the state of our season, and we need to improve. We need to improve the squad because it's one of those things where it certainly is going to affect the performance going forward if we're just trying to make do with players that we have who are not truly suited to the style of football we want to play going forward into the future. And guys, I know it's going to be difficult because we're not going to get 8 to 10 players out this summer, but we might get 8, we might get 7. And that's a positive because there's a next window in January that we might could move 2 or 3 out. And that takes us to 10. You know what I mean? So think about it prospectively, have a little bit of faith, and most certainly, guys, have a little bit of patience. And Nikhil is coming in again. At this stage, I think we should just realize this is the way it is with the referees. 100%, yeah, we got robbed on many occasions, and you're coming in. I want someone to make a compilation of all the calls against us and what they gave other teams. I think I will try something like that for Saturday morning, guys. So I will probably try to see if I could upload that video on Saturday morning. Big up to all of you. Thank you so much to Mental Ball Game, bro. Any last comments or last words you'd like to say?
No, thank you for having me again, mate. It's always a
Anytime.
pleasure coming on your stream and talking.
Big up.
Big up to everyone in the chat, man. Yeah, let's just hope we finish the season on a high. Let's just hope the new people who are coming in know what they're doing. We get some money out of the clubs, the rest of the clubs, and then go and spend it wisely this time. And
100%.
I just want the FA Cup, man. I want to win that cup this time.
Big up to you, my brother. And you know what, guys? Thank you for coming in. Big up to you, Nicholas. Hope you're having a good one. And like you're saying, I'm gonna try to do that. I'll definitely make note of that, and I'll try to work on that today. Guys, have some patience. Let's see what the summer brings. We could still finish in top 6. We are in 6th. In fact, guys, we're not in 7th. We're not in 8th. And I know Chelsea has a game in hand, but they have to play Spurs. And if they draw, they're out of it. So think about it prospectively. There's a possibility we can still win. You know what I mean? Yali, it's all good, bro. It's all good. Like, we know you, bro. You're the stat man. And I'm a little bit more optimistic than you are anyway, bro. Big up, big up. Anyway, guys, so yeah. So just to keep on the positive note, guys, we could still end the season in top 6. It's still going to be Europa League. It's still Europe. And we could still win the FA Cup. It's all down to how the players come in the last 3 games, how they go into that final, how the manager sets up this team and what tactics he employ. We are there to see. There's a manager's press conference. I'm pretty sure it's going to be tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, guys, stay tuned for that. I'm going to have it on my channel. I hope it's not today because I didn't set up for that and I have an appointment to get to. But thank you all for joining me. Big up to you, Mental Ball Game. It's always a pleasure having you on here with me, my brother. And big up to all of you coming in. Kenny Fan TV. Big up to you, Nikhil. Big up to you, Yali's the Statman. Big up to you, Musa. Big up to everyone, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Big up to Stephanie Griffith as Shea Arsenal fan as well. We will see you all soon. Thank you for being here, and big up. Don't forget to smash the likes on your way out.